Okay, folks, going to give this a try here, see if the volume works. Um, because I have a fan running right now, a little hot for me. But anyways, quick, kind of, we'll say like this is a tip on how to prepare your design work for printing. And we'll just start off with business cards. And so, like, I'm not really going to be talking about designing because that's not what I deal with customers. I let the customers do their designing. Um, anyways, so we'll just start off with with a simple business card. Now, in the U.S., standard business card is 3.5 by 2 inches wide, or two inches wide by 3.5 inches tall if you want to run a tall card. The program I'm using is InDesign 5.5, and still will do the trick for this lesson. Now, the margins, I'm not gonna do anything with the margins because it's not really. Well, you know what? Maybe we should do a margin. Let's do 0.125, which is 1/8 of an inch, and I'll explain why I'm doing that. And let's see, we want more options. So bleed is important. I've had a rant about that before. Now for bleed, standard is 1/8 of an inch. That's what I was taught when I was in graphic design, or desktop publishing and layout design, I should say. Anyways, so recap. We're going to do a card that is 3.5 inches wide, 2 inches tall. We are setting up 1/8 inch margins, and we have an 1/8 inch bleed. Say okay. So here's the card with the, right here is our 1/8 inch margin, and this line here represents the 1/8 inch bleed. So a card won't get printed. If you send your business card to a place to be printed, they won't print it one up. They'll print it multiple ups. But the thing is like, you can lay out your piece multiple up, and what will end up happening, I mean, at least even like for me, I'll take that multiple up and only take one of those multiple ups and put it into my template that I use for printing. And every place will have their own separate template for how they produce their business cards. So let's go ahead and we'll get some artwork in here. Let's see here. Here we go. Several different logos. BNP. Which one's that? That's a TIFF. Postscript. There we go. EPS. And is that the original Illustrator file? Reverse. Staff. Alright. I don't remember my logos. Alright, so it's going to look geeked out right now, and because it's just for layout purposes, it doesn't require to be of high quality, because it's not what you see on the screen, people, it's what is produced when printing. Alright, so we might fast forward through this part, but anyways, so we got our logo. And again, I have its art, hobbies, games, and don't think this PC of mine has Helvetica installed on it. So we'll just go with Arial and black. Let's see here if I can get, there we go, that, and that, decent enough. Center. Center. I think I have all caps. Yeah. Uh-oh. Not quite right. There we go. Take that. Oops. I work mostly with the Mac as far as for design work, so I don't know the PC hotkeys as well. Yeah, we don't want to shout our name out here. And we'll just go reg bold. And then alright. Center. So really, pretty simple card here. And don't worry about using this email address because it's not there. Anyway, so yeah, maybe we want to jazz it up a little bit. So let's do like a black triangle on one side. Go to the colors, which is right open already, and just go black. And let's do a 15 degree. I'll just shove that up over here. And then extend it. Now remember, got this is the margin that I have set up so I don't have anything outside of it. Of course, I have very little put on here. A lot of people like to think that their business card is a brochure and will put a whole bunch of information on there, on the sides, on the back. Sometimes they even do fold over cards. But when it all comes down to it, people, you want somebody to get in contact with you when you present your business card. That's the whole point. You are selling the product. You don't need the business card to sell the product. You just want them to be able to get a hold of you. So all you really need is name, phone number, email address if you're a person who responds by email address faster than phone number. Always have whatever it is that you go by. Like if you're a person who rather get phone calls and can respond to them, then you just put in a phone number so that you can get calls and respond to the customer. But if you don't want to respond to people by phone, because either you're busy or you just don't want to waste your time doing that, and you want just them to email you, then just provide an email. Don't even bother with putting a phone number on there if that's how you don't want to be contacted. So I mean, that's not really design information there, but it's just common sense. And again, you see this black line here. The black line is the edge of my card. This line is the bleed. So if I'm going to cut the edge of the card, this black box is bleeding out to the bleed line here, the bleed measurement. Again, this is important when dealing with sending stuff to a person to print. If you don't have bleed material, it really is a pain in the butt for the production artist. And then they might even charge you extra money for the fact that you don't have bleeds made for your piece. And alright, so let's just throw some extra junk here. Do some variable stuff. Alright, good enough. So we got our business card set up. Of course, always a good thing. Should save your work that you're doing. Let's see here, my documents. We'll just put a new folder up. Call it. Oh, for some reason, it doesn't want to change the name. There we go. Printing tips. And did I delete the dot? Doesn't look like it. So PC layout and save. Alright, so I saved my design, and now we're going to prepare it for printing. Now there's two ways to go about it. Since I've been in the business for a long time, I know the measurements for business cards. So here's two ways of saving it so that you can provide it to a printer. So if you have InDesign, you want to save it as a PDF. Now you can do this in Microsoft Publisher. You can design your card, and then Publisher does allow for bleeds, and you can also save the you can save as a PDF file in Publisher. I wouldn't bother with using any of the other tools like Word, PowerPoint, Excel. You know, if there's anything in Microsoft that you have to use and it's Publisher, use that out of the 4 products that they make. So all right, so we're gonna save a PDF, and so here's the important part. So after we designate where we're going to save it, marks and bleeds, we want crop marks, so we know where the cards are going to get cut. And then since I already entered in the bleeds, I can say use document bleeds. So here it already has 1/8 of an inch. 125 is 1/8 of an inch. And then and we want high quality. Now in Microsoft Publisher, you no longer have an option on how to save the quality. It's just standard is all that they provide you with. But if you're doing your layout in Illustrator or in InDesign, please don't use Photoshop to set up your business cards. Just because Photoshop has never, since I've been using it in version 1.5, Photoshop has never done type correctly. So if you are going to lay out cards, use InDesign or Illustrator. And InDesign is a layout tool. Illustrator is not technically a layout tool. A lot of people lay their stuff out in Illustrator because either that's what they're comfortable with, or that's the only tool that they have for developing whatever design work they do. But technically, InDesign is your layout tool. Illustrator and Photoshop are your graphic editing and creation tools. So, little rant there. You'll probably hear me rant about that several times if I make more tips like this. But anyways, crop marks. Bleed marks aren't really necessary. Registration marks, not really necessary either, unless you're doing like two-sided work or you're going to overlay something on top of something that's been printed. So not really needed. And like I said, again, I already have my bleeds put in the layout, so I can just tell it to use document bleed settings. And then export. So now it's going to save it. And let's go ahead and see if we can find that document. And printing tips. And there's the business card layout. And here we go. So here's the business card. Now again, the business card is 3.5 inches wide by 2 inches tall. The PDF will say here that it's 4.8 by 2.58, and that's because of the additional space provided by the crop marks. And again, the crop marks are where the post-production will be cutting. So like this line here, the card gets cut. This line here is where the card gets cut. And again, this is another good example of what the crop marks showing the bleed. So like you don't have to worry about this little white outline around the crop marks, because the actual cut area is right here. So this white material is outside of the cut of the card. Let's see here. Do I want to improve the color scheme improvement? Keep current. So anyways, yeah, there we go. So that's set up. And here's another option for preparing the card. So this is the one with crop marks, which is always good. It's good with crop marks. Let's go back to our layout here again. And then we'll resave the PDF again. So high quality print. We'll call this business card layout 2. Save. Back to marks and bleeds. This time we're not going to do the crop marks, but we still want to include the bleed. So bleed is 125, which is 1/8 of an inch. And then we'll export that. Give that a moment for it to export to PDF. And then we'll go back to PDF for that. So here's business card layout 2. And here's the card without the crop marks, but it still has its bleed material. And the reason why I know it has its bleed material is because the business card is not 3.5 by 2. It's 3 3/4 by 2 1/4. So I, as a production artist, will know that the designer has provided bleed material for the card. And then I can place the card as it is, as a template for into the template I have for printing business cards. So there you go. Just a quick little explanation on how to prepare a file for printing, and we'll go into next step on an additional step for preparing files for printing shortly. Let's see here, but ask me again if the computer continues to perform only. Keep the current set and don't show this message again. I don't know why it would click that again. But yeah, we'll do a part 2 on this. Alright folks, thanks for watching.